All right, we are here. We are back with another trilogy, which is really weird because this
Well,
trilogy's
it's not really a
well, it's not
trilogy.
really a trilogy, right?
We're
Like
making a trilogy out of three
all of
movies,
three movies, all of nine total.
even
About
though we're starting at number two, even though we start with the second one.
move to the second one. So that's a question. Like I don't think we ever talk about this online, right? So Star Wars 4, 5, and 6. For a long time, it was just this trilogy, and then 1, 2, and 3, and then 7, 8, 9. So
But you
once
always knew
these
that. But
right,
since they started with episode four, you already knew that it was is going a part of a bigger story, even though they
well,
start right in the
when the
middle.
Star Wars first came out, it wasn't Star. It didn't say Episode 4 though. They added that in later, I think.
Sure, I'm pretty sure they didn't.
Well, I can't remember now. Well, let's just say it did.
Yeah,
Okay.
because he already did, because he already knew this was a bigger part of a story.
So what about Star Trek? Like, well, you know what? My question was, after 4, 5, and 6, right? Let's just say they never made anything. Like that at that point was trilogy, right? Until they made
Yeah.
Episode 1. That's when you know, like, oh, there's another trilogy. Do you call these separate trilogies, or is it just 6 movies together now?
Well, what are you? What do you call nine movies
I
together?
don't know. It's just a series.
This
Like,
is, I'm sure there's a name for it.
what do you call these Star Trek movies? There's like 12 of them total now, right? With the J.J.
Yeah,
Abrams stuff.
you call it a running movie series. Is
A
what you call
running
it.
movie series. I
You
love
call
that.
it one hell of a running movie series.
Because right now, nowadays with the Marvel, right? Like, Star Trek was the one that was like, okay, they have Star Trek 5,
And
6,
there's not
7,
12.
8,
There's isn't there? I think there's 13 Star Treks too.
13 Star Trek. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. How many? Oh, 10 and, oh yeah, 13 Star Trek. You're right. There's
13 Star
10
Treks.
original and the new Next Generation. There's 10 movies there. And then the three JJ, well, the whatever with Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Exactly,
I
yeah.
mean, you can call it Abrams Star Trek or alternate universe. I forgot what they call it, but it's not the prime universe.
Okay, yeah, the multiverse thing. Here we go. The
It's not a
timeline.
multiverse. This is not Marvel.
Okay, so I didn't get to see the episode. Shane recommended the episode
Well, yeah.
before
Let's
this.
just put it this way: they came out with after the first movie. There was the first we saw the first Star Trek, and we even
Yes.
did it on our show. We did on our show, and you liked it. I liked it. It's pretty
Yes, I
good.
liked it a lot.
I hear there's even another copy cut out of it now in the
Another
first movie.
cut? Really?
Yeah, it's supposed to be even better.
Oh, man.
Well, the problem with the movie, what suffered about the movie was it was so long, and there was a lot of boring scenes, and I mean just to find VGer.
You
But
know, it's really weird
anyways,
that you said that. Like, I think I said it again. Like, I didn't find that the first Star Trek boring at all.
yeah,
I was
well,
intrigued the whole time.
yeah, it was. Well, the funny thing is, I hated it the first time I remember seeing it, and then when we saw it again, I was like,
Oh, it's
"This is
much
actually
better,
very.
yeah.
This is actually
Because
very
I'm like,
good."
what the heck is it? What the heck is it? That's what
Well,
I'm trying to find out.
I guess because it's all the Abrams Star Treks. Well, again, they're not, I'm not comparing. I'm not saying Abrams Star Trek's bad. There's some Trekkies that will, and that's cool. Everybody's got their own opinion. It's just the way the story was told is completely different.
Yes, it's different. Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree.
because theirs is more of an is more exploratory. It's more like original what Star Trek's all about.
Yeah,
It's
because at
supposed to
this
pose a
time,
question.
I agree.
Yeah, it's supposed to pose a question. Abrams doesn't really ever pose a question. It's just action, action, action. But
Yeah.
that's the way our world is now. So that's cool.
Well,
But
I was
anyway,
going to say that, yeah. Star
Star
Trek
Trek
2.
2 came along. But the thing is, the first movie cost so much money that they almost, I don't even know if they made their money back. They may have made their money back now, but they didn't originally make their money back, which almost doomed Star Trek. But they got a
Wow.
producer who did TV. He knew how he could go, I could make a Star Trek movie and I could actually make it way cheap and make you a lot of money no matter what. It's just going to make money. He goes, because that's what he made. He made like movie of the weeks, for television and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And this guy is, I forgot the producer's name at the moment. The funny thing is, even in Abrams, there's an admiral named after the producer from this Star Trek.
No way.
But this guy actually, I wish I could think of his name at the moment. But anyhow, yeah, it's actually who played Matilda.
Let's see.
Now, who's the
I'm looking on.
no, this is not the producer. This is the actor who portrays the producer.
Oh, then I wouldn't know.
No, don't worry about it. Well,
Okay.
there's all those movies, Matilda movies.
Oh, you talk about Matilda, the movie, like with
Yeah.
the little girl.
No. No.
What's Matilda?
The grandma.
The grandma.
Oh, we got to move on.
Okay.
Anyhow, because we already went way off.
Yeah, because I'm not sure.
People are like, "What is this guy talking about? This guy's nuts." He doesn't even know who he's talking about. But anyhow, this guy. That's the thing. This Star Trek, if you notice, there's several scenes that are the exact same scenes you see in the first movie. The Enterprise leaving the dock.
Oh,
It's the
yes.
exact same. It's just re-edited.
Oh,
They
so
brought it into pods. Yeah, connected to the ship. There's several scenes. They use the same sets
they
because
use the
most Star
same,
Trek use a different set.
or they
All
use
the
the same
sets,
archive
same
footage, right?
Yeah, they use. Well, they didn't use the same uniforms. They built new uniforms.
Yes, the
But the
uniforms.
thing is, actually, the okay. If you notice, there's two sets of uniforms. They're all like a burgundy color.
Yes.
They're really nice. Got the snap up. That's
Yep.
all officer uniforms. But the what do you call it? The crewman uniforms. You know, the ones that's got the little tablets on both sides, looks like a little jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Are actually the uniforms for the first movie. They dyed them and added a little more stuff to them.
Oh, so they're just trying to
So
like.
yeah, they took all the uniforms for the first movie and turned them to crewman uniforms, dyed them, and added extra stuff to them. And then that's how they save money on this deal. They
So
used a
it's-
lot of the same sets.
They sound like Robert Rodriguez in it.
Yes, well, this guy had to do Robert Rodriguez to make this movie because the thing is, the movie actually was more successful than the first one, and it's not just because of the cost cutting. It just turned out to be a better more people wanted to come see this movie.
Yeah, the story was really good. You
The
know.
story is really good. And the thing is, though, like for me, this is the first time I ever saw this. This was the very first Star Trek that I ever saw in my life.
Oh, really? The Wrath of
here's
Khan.
But for Trekkies,
Yeah.
or Trekkers, whatever you want to say, depends on how you see yourself. Which I don't think you see yourself as either one of them, but
Not yet, anyway.
for people who saw the original, they brought back a character from the first season of Star Trek, Khan.
Khan.
Khan actually is a reoccurring character. Well, this
In the
is his
series.
second row. Yeah, in the original one, there was first season there was Space Seed, and it's about the Enterprise is traveling along and they find a floating ship with a bunch of genetically superior people on board in deep sleep. They thaw him out, and then Khan tries to take over the Enterprise. And of course, Kirk beats him. And actually, there's one crew member, this lady. She's like a historian of the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
She falls in love with Khan, and she decides to go with Khan. Well, Kirk actually, instead of putting him in a prison or something, he decides, I'll find a planet that the Federation's visited, but it's not going to a system that the Federation's never going to use. He doesn't really even monitor this system. It's just kind of a fallout system. They have no use for it. They left Khan and all his 70 crewmen. He maroons them on the planet and gives them enough stuff. Well, basically, just gives them a little bit. They can make their own culture without enslaving anybody else.
They kind of mentioned that, like, you know, him and Kirk has history. You know, Khan and Kirk have history in the thing.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, that lady goes with him too, and becomes his wife. Apparently, we find out in the next movie. That's where the show ends.
Oh.
But But the thing, the Khan's actually not the only character. I mean, because you got the regular crew from the original series,
Yeah.
that we all know. You got Khan from the original series, and just to throw this in there, on the Reliant, there's I think they called him Captain or Commander Kyle.
Yes.
There's a guy sitting at the computer trying to call. He's actually was the transporter chief on the original series as a Lieutenant Kyle in the original series, so he also made it too.
So this
though he
feels like
gets a
this
brief look
movie. So whoever this guy was, right, trying to get like, okay, I know there's a whole bunch of fans from the original series. How do we
Yeah.
get to them to see this movie?
So you got to think though, and this is what 1982.
Yes, 1982.
So in a way early, you're already getting, you know, what we see nowadays in Marvel series
yeah,
and
so
DC
almost
movies.
20 years ago, right? Like the original
Yes.
series.
And plus,
I love it.
The Wrath of Khan, you saw the computer effects, which are kind of, they're not really impressive now. But you got to think, this was the first movie to use computer effects.
Oh, 1982? Yes.
Yep. Because they build their Genesis planet with computer effects.
Oh,
That
I
is
love
amazing.
that
All that you
Genesis
saw,
thing.
all that you saw when Genesis forms that planet into a deal, all computer.
Wow.
100% computer.
For back
So
then,
that's the
82.
first. And yeah, they look pretty good because you think that's all a film trick.
Yes. And well, I guess the new people were like, oh, I saw Kristen Alley.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's a Vulcan.
she's a Vulcan Savick.
So what does that mean? What's the Vulcan Savick?
No, her name is Savick.
Oh, Oh, yeah, Vulcan Savick. Yeah, yes, that's right, Savick. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that.
I thought you said Vulcan
She's a
Savick.
Vulcan.
Yes,
Her
she's a
name
Vulcan
is
Savick.
Savick. Yeah.
Yes.
Of course, you see her and Spock speak Vulcan.
Yes, that was the first time they speak Vulcan. I was like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah, but she must have been a really, really young Vulcan.
Oh, yeah, I figured
The only
that
reason I
too.
say that because she still had some emotions.
So I saw that. I was going to
most
ask
Vulcans-
you about that.
Well, Vulcans actually have emotions.
Oh, until they...
Well,
Until
that's
what?
the thing is, well, in the Vulcan society, okay, all Vulcans had feelings, and they had feelings so strong that they almost destroyed their planet during the nuclear war.
Oh, that's right.
They wrecked their entire planet. And eventually, some religious leader come along and told them if we repress our emotions, it'll lead to, just basically, it's like when somebody calls you a name, you turn the other shoulder.
More peaceful, yes.
Yeah, well, it's not peaceful. It's like somebody's calling you a name, you're supposed to get mad, right? Why would you get mad? Honestly, think about it. Even in our world, somebody calls you a name, they want a response. Why would you give them one?
Yeah.
Because what's it going to do for you? What's it do for them? Nothing. Constantly. That's why it's illogical to give them a response. Yes. Exactly. You get what I'm saying? The thing is, here's the deep thing. If you watch Star Trek Next Generation, this repressing of most of this is actually explained in Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise.
Well,
a lot of people didn't want to watch Enterprise, but if you watch it, it covers more of the Vulcan history. In Enterprise. But the thing is, you eventually see Spock's dad get a disease for repressing his emotions. Eventually can kill you.
So if you repress your emotions, it eventually can kill you, because I guess some kind of chemical thing, right?
Sometimes it causes Vulcan's diseases. There's a Vulcan disease where they start showing their emotions. But anyways, you're supposed to go to this deal, because we saw it in the first Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
Where Spock is going to the Kulinar.
Yes.
And they're that's when he gives up all his emotions.
Oh, right.
And becomes, basically, so I'm saying Saavik, her character, because she has a tear and stuff.
Yeah, she has a tear.
She probably hasn't gone through all of this stuff to get rid of her emotions yet. She probably just learned the basics.
Because I was going to ask that, because she had a tear when Spock dies at the end.
Yeah, everybody
So
does.
I want to say that. Yeah, so it was really sad, right?
Well, here's the neat thing, because we're going to say Spock died, but here's the coolest thing about when Star Trek 2 came along.
Yeah.
That broke out that Spock will get killed, and people were upset, or there was like a spoiler, and it came out. So that is why the Kobayashi Maru test comes along. Because when the audience are like, we know Spock's going to die. So they're sitting there. Spock gets killed in the Kobayashi Maru test, and everybody's like, oh, and he gets back up, and everybody's like, oh, okay. It was all a fake.
Oh, that's right. In the beginning, yes.
Yep, and then at the end of the movie,
because in the beginning, I was thrown off. I was like, "What the heck's happening here?"
Exactly.
Yeah, I was like,
which is funny that you're thrown off because you saw Star Trek 12.
Yes.
Where they had the Kobayashi Maru test.
Yeah, that's all that. Yep, they sure did.
But you didn't know this was the test, did you?
No, I did not. Like, it was like, it was so realistic. It's like, okay, in the middle of the mission, let's do this, and then because there's everything blowing up, but it's just a simulation. And I was like, whoa. Yeah, it was really.
So this is how they threw everybody off.
Oh, I was thrown off a lot.
So that's what the whole thing about it. I also want to point out, I guess this is more for the original series though. Khan's name is, what is it? Noonien Singh, Khan Noonien Singh or Song.
Is that what that is?
Anyways, his name is actually named after somebody, because Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, he flew with a guy. I think it was World War II. He flew with a guy. His name was that, so he named that character after him, hoping that guy would find him and contact him so he could find his old.
Oh my god! It sounds like some Tiger Woods stuff.
I don't know about that.
No, you know what the Tiger Woods story is, right?
Yep.
It was Tiger Woods' dad. He's like the same thing. They were in the Vietnam War, right? And he lost contact with his buddy. His nickname is Tiger. So he named his son Tiger Woods, just so one day his friend would just like that, so they could reconcile.
Okay, so just like that.
That is, I guess that's how people do stuff back then. Like there's no Facebook, there's no social media, right?
Hey, that makes sense.
Yeah, once you lose connection, like how do I reach out to this person?
Eventually that's the thing. Yeah, how did you hunt down people that you
can't?
Lost contact? You usually didn't, I guess.
Yeah, it's just tough without the internet.
Yeah, well, it's still tough some days when your internet's down.
Yeah, it is. But that's really cool though. I watched the Big Bang Theory, right? They always say Wrath of Khan is the best Star Trek. Even when you and I work at the law firm, they tell like some of the attorneys like, dude, Wrath of Khan is the best one.
This is your first time to watch it all the way through.
This is the first time I watch it all the way through.
Hey, can I ask you, did you go ahead and watch the third and fourth one?
I have not.
Oh, okay, you're holding off.
I have not. Because I was like, because the title, like the quest for search for Spock and Voyage Home, is it the So
well, when we get to those, I want to tell you because there's some funny stuff to that.
Okay, good, because like the titles are really intriguing. So you know what I did?
Oh, are they? Okay, I thought
yes, because you can't watch like stupid Wrath of Khan, right? And then like, you mean he dies? So what the hell happened? So what the heck? So I suppressed myself, and what I did is I watched the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. I really
That's
like.
sickening, but okay. It's kind of revolting, but yeah. I don't know why you'd go do
Dude, I
that.
was watching it. I couldn't even watch it all the way through. I didn't fall asleep until it was a Friday night. Last night, I didn't go to bed until like 1. Because,
Yeah, and
McCoy
I mean,
shows up,
I don't know. I guess everybody's got their own opinions. The people go, "What's your favorite movie?" Wrath of Khan, Star Trek Wrath of Khan's my favorite movie.
Yeah.
It's the deal. It's the first time I ever saw Star Trek. And I remember, and I was a Star Wars boy,
Yeah.
had all the Star Wars TIE fighters, Millennium Falcon shirts and stuff. And then I saw this. I'm like, what is this? But I want to explain though why it's my favorite movie. It's not my favorite movie because of Star Trek at all.
Okay.
It's nothing to do with Star. It's my favorite movie because every time I watch Wrath of Khan, it makes me feel younger. Because it reminds me the first time I ever saw this movie, it reminds me of me and my brother as kids. Because the first time we ever saw this is when we moved to the city or the town and we got cable and we got HBO. And it was one of the first movies we saw on HBO. And it's not all. Here's the neatest thing about it: when we're watching it, you see all these people, the ships getting fighting.
Yeah.
You got 2 starships fighting, they're blowing up stuff. So me and my brother, we get a coffee table and pull it up to the couch, put our pillows out, and every time they blow up the ships, we'd fall on the couch and stuff.
No.
So
Dude,
basically, every time I watch Star Trek 2, it reminds me of my brother playing.
that's very cool. No, I like
So that's
that
all it
idea.
has to do with. Yeah, that's what it really. Because people are like, "So you're a Trekker or a Trekkie?" I'm like, I am, but that's not what the movie means to me.
No, that's
The
really
movie's
good.
memory.
I'm so glad
Yeah, the
you
movie's
brought that
nothing but a memory.
Star Wars and Star Trek reference, right? So there's one episode of The Big Bang Theory where I think Penny's explaining to Amy like the difference between Star Trek and Star Wars, and then Amy's like, "What the hell is difference?" And Penny's like, "Literally, there's no difference." That upset me a little bit because even though I never seen that much Star Trek, right? The only Star Trek
Yeah.
I know is the J.J. Abrams, and I know immediately there are
Well,
huge differences between those two.
there is a huge difference, but mainly Star Wars is it's a story, it's a fable, and it's mainly an adventure in space.
Yes.
You know, Star Trek though it's kind of, you can say it's an adventure in space, but it's what humanity eventually evolves to.
Yes.
This is hope. It's more of a hope because
Yep.
in Star Wars, you never really know what those people. We decide they're human because they look like us, but we don't really know it because that's in a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yep.
And they find all these aliens, But in Star Trek, it's 200 years from now.
Yes, and it's
And well, depending on which one you're watching, it could be 300 years from now.
and I feel like it's still the
Wait,
final
and
frontier.
a lot of the stuff has disappeared in the modern Star Treks, but the 60s Star Trek and of course these movies was most humanity dropped their petty little differences and moved on.
Yes, that's
know?
what I love about Star Trek.
That's the thing.
That's what I say all the time.
Because we could go ahead and just sum it up real quick. Our petty differences that we have on the planet right now are illogical.
Yeah, it's very illogical. Exactly.
And you'll probably want to get them together before the Borg shows up,
That's
because
why-
then you'll be assimilated.
That's why I'm always like the nerds. I want to say the most peaceful, right? They still argue about Xbox or PlayStation is better. But
Well,
like,
let's put it, the Star Trek and Star Wars nerds war among themselves, but
because people always think whatever they like is the best one, right? Which I get, but we're not
Yeah,
doing
'cause
the
they're
differences.
passionate.
Yeah, we're not doing differences like, oh, he's from another country, I don't like this guy. Like, we're not doing
Yeah.
that. Like, my country is better than yours. Like, no, Star Wars better than Star Trek or vice versa. That's what we're fighting about. But you know what?
Yeah.
I like both, so you're like, yeah, whatever. I like space
yeah, well, that's
travel.
the thing. Yeah, you're supposed to have a crew that's made up of everybody, because you got Sulu, who's supposed to be Japanese.
Yes.
You got Scotty, which is obviously Scotland.
You know, it's really crazy for a
Uhura.
show like this back in the day. They were using different cultures, which is awesome.
Exactly, because here's what's crazy, because you got to think, even it's going to be kind of neat now, but you got Uhura, Africa.
Yes.
But
Was that
then
Pam
here's
Grier?
one.
That's Pam Grier, right? That plays Aurora.
Oh, that is Michelle.
Is it?
Michelle Nicholas?
Oh, you know what? I think I got the match.
it's not Pam
waitresses,
Grier,
not
dude.
waitresses. Actresses mixed up.
Yeah, you do get your actresses mixed
I
up.
did. I like the
It's
Chekhov guy.
Michelle
Is he really Russian?
Nicole. No,
Yeah,
Chekhov
Michelle.
wasn't really Russian.
Oh, okay.
But here's the neat thing. We'll go ahead. Since we're probably won't ever do the original series, we got Chekhov, which came during the 60s. He's Russian, which, was the height of the Cold War.
Yeah.
It's funny we're talking about it now because we already got problems. There's kind of Russians
Currently,
in
yeah.
the headlines. Yeah, but we're not going to focus on that. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and do this whole Chekhov thing, because Chekhov is really important. Going to be a really important thing in this. Okay, Chekhov, though, he came along. I think he came along I can't remember the the second season, I think. I'm wrong on this. I should know this.
He's not a
But
pilot,
anyway,
right? What is Chekhov?
oh, he was a helmsman. No, he wasn't a helmsman. He was navigator.
Navigator. Okay, you have
But
the
in
pilot
these
navigator.
movies, okay, in on the Reliant, he's the first officer.
He's the first officer. Okay.
But in the first Star Trek, he was a tactical officer. You know, you got to
Oh,
move around to get up in rank.
yes.
But anyways, but in the original series, he was said always in the navigator, which the navigator could actually do tactical too.
Oh,
But
okay.
Sulu was the helmsman, and he could do tactical too. He did tactical. It swapped before. I mean, come on. In case one of these guys gets incapacitated, you need somebody to shoot the photon torpedoes and phasers.
Yes.
But anyways, Chekhov came along to save the show because the most popular show was The Monkees,
Oh, okay.
and women loved Davy Jones.
Oh,
And
really?
Chekhov, the actor Walter Kong, I'm sure it says, I don't know if it says his name right, but anyhow, he looked like a young Davy Jones.
Oh,
So that's
no
why he got on
way.
Star Trek. But here's the neat thing: we're going to do this because this is Star Trek 2 related.
Okay.
All right, the first is Star Trek 2. You know, he arrives on the Botany Bay, cargo stuff. And of course, he's telling his captain, we got to get out of here. Got to get out of here. Of course,
Yes.
he gets captured with Khan. Khan picks him up, looks at him, goes, I never remember a face. Here's the neat thing. He wasn't in the first season of Star Trek.
Oh, is it because
Chekhov wasn't in the first season.
Oh,
But here's the neat thing. But people will want to argue about that, and that's fine. Argue about it all you want. But you got to think, the first season was a 5-year mission. Most likely, Chekhov served at another spot on the Enterprise and slowly worked his way up. Because if you watched all 3 seasons of the original Star Trek, you noticed people did promote.
oh, okay. So that's the mistake. Okay, so I didn't see.
You know, Chekhov probably wasn't the navigator yet. There's no telling where he worked. You know,
Yeah.
it's because it's like Spock. If you watch The Cage or the first pilot episode of Star Trek, Spock was just a science officer. By the time Kirk comes aboard, he promotes to being the first officer and the science officer.
Oh, okay.
And as you notice in this second movie, Kirk's not captain; he's an admiral.
Yes,
Spock
he's
is
an
not a
admiral.
commander; he's a captain.
He's a captain. Yes.
Most of the crew have captain ranks now
Oh, yeah, I noticed that they
Chekhov.
are higher ranks.
because Chekhov is commander, right? I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah, I think he's commander.
Well, I mean, if you show me the ranks, I can tell you real quick.
Oh man.
I'm that big a nerd. But
You know, I forgot to point out I like the design of Star Trek even back in the '60s, right? They have the navigator. They gotta make sure they have the linguistics, right? Lady.
yeah, you got your communicator, which
Yes,
is
communicator.
Aura.
Yeah, Aura. Yes.
Communication station, which you're supposed to know several different languages, plus the
I
computer. would help
love
you
it.
out.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The bridge was actually designed in a certain way, and they slowly got away from. Mainly, it was an idea that the captain sits in the center, and
Yep.
the bridge is circular. That way, he could spin his chair and see the screens and see what all.
Talk to everyone. Yes.
Yeah, you could talk to everybody and see what's going on the screen if they couldn't talk.
That reminds me of the Avengers, and when Iron Man goes up, they're like, "How did Nick sees this?" Like this, like he turns a lot. When you say because the captain had to be aware of all the situation.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. That's what you want.
Yes.
Wow, that's what I'd want if I was a captain of a starship. But to me, the Star Trek 2, or let me put it, the movies for Kirk's movies, the first, the 6 movies, or the first, 2 to 6, it's my favorite of the starships. Starship design, the starship, like Reliant, is my favorite starship.
Oh.
It's it is. In that design, I like that design period of starships.
What?
Without the red buzzard collectors and all that.
I forgot what race of people Khan is. I'm not familiar.
What? Khan is human.
Oh, Khan is. Oh, they just
But the story goes, and there's supposed to have been a world war during the 90s on Earth. It's called the Eugenics Wars, when we finally figured out how to do genetic engineering. So they made a group of genetically engineered people, and they decided they're better than everybody else on Earth, and they'll just seize power, and they started trying to take power around the world. Khan is supposed to be from India.
Oh, really?
Yeah, supposed to be like from the India continent. And the thing is, all those people eventually they start to beat those genetically engineered people. So they all built some space sleeper ships. They put themselves in suspended animation because their bodies can handle it better than ours can.
Oh.
And took off flying into space. So basically, they're Superman.
So
they're stronger than we are. They don't need. They can almost no air can breathe. because their
Well,
lungs are better.
so they got enhanced humans, or like they're
No,
X-Men. That's
they're
what you're saying.
enhanced. They are actually X-Men. So basically, the X-Men got on the sleeper ship, and the Kirk found him and put him on a planet by himself. Did what the Sentinels couldn't do. So,
Oh,
so it shows you how great Kirk is.
yes.
Him and Spock.
So is this the first movie where they say the needs of many outweighs the needs of a few?
I don't know, but this is the first one I know of.
That's the first one I know of too.
If they ever said it in the original, I don't know it. I think this is the first time he ever put that Vulcan logic.
Because that's the foreshadowing of the at the end, right?
Yes, it is, because he sacrificed himself to save.
Yeah.
All
So
his,
when they first said that, I was like, now when they show it at the end, I love that that phrase even more.
Here's someone, because me and you saw Star Trek 12 in theater.
Yeah, Introduction.
You remember how I felt when we
Yes,
when
because
we saw
you
that
felt
movie.
like you
I
saw
was
the
not
same
happy.
thing.
But here's the thing. You saw the ending of this.
Yep.
It was pretty meaningful, right?
Yes.
It grabbed you, right?
Yeah.
To me, on Star Trek 12,
You know, wait, hold on.
They do.
You know where it grabs me is when you see the look on Spock's face, right? Even before he go to that room, he's like, he knew what he had to do, and I'm thinking he thinks it's the most logical choice already right there. He made that decision.
But he also got it when Kirk finds out that he just lost his friend.
Yeah, it's way later.
He runs down there, and they stop him, and they told him he's already dead.
Yeah.
And of course, you see him when he puts his hand against the deal, and then he falls down, and they're both just sitting there back to back. Yeah. See, that's the thing. That's what ticks me off about 12, because 12 they made it laughable. They flipped him, and you just don't care. I mean, like when Kirk dies on 12, I'm like, I already know. Oh, you're gonna bring him back with a tribble.
Oh, that's why it makes it so mad.
That's just a joke. To me, it's like giving me the finger.
Oh, to you? Okay, so I like that.
That's the way
I like both scenes, okay? Because
it's like Abrams gave every Star Trek fan the finger, right?
So I like both scenes. So I guess I'm not a Star Trek fan because I did like that one, and I did like, I guess 2 and 12. I like them.
Yeah. You probably. But if I watched it in reverse, maybe I would have liked it. But like that, I'm like, they put a lot into this, and then they just copy it, and it wasn't even near as emotional.
So I knew you were gonna touch on this when I saw this. Okay. So that's when I thought of like, this is the multiverse of Star Trek, isn't it? The J.J. Abrams created the multiverse. Well, no, when Captain Nero came in the first.
I am not going to give Abrams any credit for multiverse, because if you watch the original
I'm not talking about the thing. I'm not talking about that. Like, but this is a multiverse. I won't give him credit for that.
Star Trek's been a multiverse since the first three.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't give. I don't know what happened.
In the original Star Trek, it already turned itself into a multiverse then, because of time travel and alternate realities. There is more than, because Star Trek has more than time travel. It actually has an episode where there's an alternate reality.
Oh.
They call the Mirrorverse.
The Mirrorverse.
Where everybody is like, the Federation's good. When in the Mirrorverse, the Federation's bad. It's only humans, and they go around dictating to all the alien life forms what they do.
Oh, I like that. I like that storyline.
Oh yeah.
I like the ideas.
If you like that idea, I like that storyline. The best one is in Enterprise.
Oh.
Because it takes one of the Star Trek movies from the Next Generation.
Yeah.
You're watching the first of the movie like you think it, and also it changes right there on the deal. You're like, well, I don't remember this at the theater.
Really?
Yep. And then all of a sudden, it goes back to the original series from Kirk's time and pulls a starship through and puts it in Enterprise's time.
So let me tell you why.
But that's all another.
I want to tell you why I would probably love Star Trek if I watch it more. So when I was a kid, actually probably 20 years ago in my 20s, I was reading this manga, right, or Japanese comic called One Piece. And I'm always thinking, like, everything I read, right, I always think of, well, how do I bring this to the big movie screen for everyone to enjoy what I like to enjoy reading? And I'm thinking, like, you know what would be really cool? If I could have TV shows, right? Just show the mini episodes or whatever, like, you know, the side storyline. And then the finale of, like, you know, this major chapter, right? And then that should be a movie. Does that make sense? So you would have to watch. So you have to watch a mini series, and you want to watch the conclusion, right? You have to watch it in the movie. But you know, back then, right? I think Star Trek is the only one, and none of the production people want to take. No, none of the production company want to take a risk in that.
Yeah.
Right, because they don't want to, like, okay, we got the audience hooked to the TV. They probably not going to be the same audience that would go see the movie.
Exactly. And that's the problem. That's why you keep getting Star Trek comes back to TV each time.
Yes.
Because the movies just don't make the money that most other movies do. But it's Star Trek. I mean, you can't really tell a Star Trek story on the big screen unless J.J. Abrams tells it.
Yeah.
Because the way he tells it, he gets rid of all the philosophy and just makes adventure. Star Trek's all about philosophy.
So I'm so glad you pointed that out. So I think you recommended me to watch the Clone Wars, right? The Star Wars, the Clone Wars. So I've been watching that, and you're right.
Just
Not
the Mandalorian
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
well, I didn't.
But you went
I'm
ahead and
almost
watched
done
the whole thing and you liked it and you enjoyed it.
I almost finished the whole thing. I'm on season 6, and I'm like, okay, some of these episodes kind of suck, but the one that really means a lot, right? Like you said, you watched the Mandalorian stuff, right? Those are really good.
I watched really good.
Like it also with Obi-Wan Kenobi's like the love interest of Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's also very good.
It is extremely.
And what I'm watching now on season 6 is Yoda going through additional training from Qui-Gon Jinn. You know what they didn't show you?
What?
They because they didn't tell you in 4, 5, and 6, right? You just thought Jedi's when they die, they turn to this glowy figure and they live on forever. So before episode 3, when at the end of episode 3 for Star Wars, right? I know we're getting off track, but I want to finish.
We're getting way off in the bad territory on the Star Trek.
Actually, I won't say bad territory because I'm talking about like Star Wars also had this TV series, the animated series and movies, which is like, hey, you don't have to watch the TV shows. You could watch the movies too. It's still very enjoyable. Okay.
Yeah, it's very. And the thing is, they're two different worlds in a way.
They are two different worlds in a way.
But I mean, it's the same thing with Star Trek.
We just like, hey, you don't want to know the back. Like this one, Wrath of Khan. I didn't know the backstory, right? But watching this, I know enough.
You know enough, and that's the thing. Like I said, I loved this movie for a long time, and it took me, man, I don't know how many years until I mean, it was like in the 2000s when I finally saw Space Seed.
Oh, really?
The first deal of Khans. And here's the neat thing: the story. Okay, because we also want to say Dr. Carol Marcus.
Yes.
Turns out Captain Kirk has a son.
Oh, yeah, we forgot to touch about that.
Here's the thing: do you think that there's original series with her in it?
No, right?
No, there's not. But it seems like there might be. She seems important enough that they may would have touched on it.
Yes. He never knew he had a son, which was actually like. Because they never said at that moment. I'm like thinking like, oh my God, that's his son.
Yeah, you figure that out.
Yeah, you figure that out.
But it also explains it because she says that he's like, I did my thing and I respected your wishes. You told me to stay away.
Yep, that was it. Yep. You told me to stay away. Yep.
Yeah, so he did. So we see out that Captain Kirk has a son, which apparently becomes an important thing. Yeah. We'll see later in the third movie.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, yeah, he becomes important to Captain Kirk. I mean, because Captain Kirk's like, I've been doing all of this, and I actually had somebody there just like me. There you know.
The thing is, like, everybody always called Captain Kirk, right? Pop culture, even before I know Star Trek. But this one bothers me a little bit because they keep calling him Admiral. So I was thrown off a little bit.
Well, that's because he changed his rank. I mean, eventually, I mean, he's supposed to be the greatest starship captain. Why wouldn't he promote? Yeah, he was Admiral in the first movie too, by the way.
Yes, he was.
Remember?
Yes.
So he said it's going to be Admiral. They'll fix it for you.
Because technically, he's Admiral, right? But he's the captain of the Enterprise, even in this movie.
Well, anytime you're on the bridge and you sit in the command seat, you become the captain.
Yeah, you're the highest.
That's the same thing with a lot of ships. You could be like a lieutenant on a small United States Navy vessel. But if you're in command of the ship, you're captain.
Yeah, you're captain, yes.
You don't have the rank and the pay of the captain, but you are the captain.
Yes.
Because you got to think, captain sometimes it's just a rank. It's not. It's a rank and a position.
Yeah.
Same thing with first officer. Spock's the first officer, but he's still got the captain rank.
So I never figure out how the Star Trek thing is. I'm not really good like the military position. So is captain then first officer?
Well. Well, that's the positions. Yeah, you got your captain and your first officer. That's your senior staff. So then you got your department heads.
What's the commander come from? Like, where's commander?
Oh, the rank. That's ranks.
Oh,
we're talking. Ranks. Okay. For ranks, you got your admiral, and there's several different levels of admiral. Commodore, which usually commands a space station.
Okay.
Then you got captains. The rank of captain usually always commands a starship. Commander is usually your first officer.
Oh, commander.
Depends on how long you've been in the deal. Or and a commander can also be the head of a department because you got your science department, medical department because you got commanders.
Yeah.
And then what is it? Lieutenant commander. I think it's what is it? Then it's lieutenant. I think it's like I don't know if Star Trek had a first or second. I think it's lieutenant, then lieutenant junior grade.
Okay.
I think it's Star Trek, and then it's ensign. So it should be ensign. Lieutenant, junior grade, lieutenant commander, then captain.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering, like,
The
yeah,
ranks
first
have
officer.
changed. Ranks have changed because on this one you can see the ranks. The ranks are on the epaulet that hangs
Yes.
down over the uniform. They got all the ranks. And then if you notice, the undershirts are the color, different colors.
Yes.
Red is cadets, all red. Everything is red as cadet. Black is crewman.
Black is
And
crewman.
then if you wear an officer's uniform, green, I think it's olive green, is medical. White is command. Gray is operations. Orange is it's like I think it's another service. It, like let's put your helmsman and stuff. It's next up to command.
How many people are on these ships? Is it 100 people or
On the
hundreds?
Enterprise is around 400, over a little over
400.
400
Okay, the
crewmen.
crew.
The
Ooh.
Reliant doesn't have near as many, but it
Because
also
it's
has the Reliant though. The way that the Reliant's built, it's yeah smaller crewmen, but it has more hangar bays, cargo. It's more carries cargo and stuff.
also it's like a cargo
Yeah, the
thing.
Enterprise series ships, the Enterprise are called Constitution class vessels, and they all carry around 400 crewmen. I think they built maybe 12. They probably built more by the time the movies come along.
Oh,
And
okay.
they're flagships. They go really far out in space.
Oh,
They're like the biggest ship, one of the biggest ships until we see the Excelsior class ships, which comes in the third movie.
oh, okay.
Reliant ships are probably the longest serving Federation ship because remember that was a Star Trek show I showed you, Next Generation show.
Yes.
Remember where Kelsey Grammer
Yes, because the ground.
is the
That's
captain of that ship, same class. Well, it's actually I think it's modified. The Reliant is actually a Miranda class vessel,
oh.
which is maybe a cargo ship, and they put sensors on them. It's the same ship that even Benjamin Sisko serves on for Deep Space Nine.
You know, I was talking to my wife about these episodes, right? Like the first time you watched the time loop thing, you were thinking like, man, what the
Yeah,
hell's on my
isn't it
TV?
amazing? They
It
even had
is.
an article. I think wrote an article on that show.
So I
That
was gonna
episode.
say like you know, nowadays, right, it's gonna be hard to achieve that level anymore because we've been across so much stuff. Back
Yeah,
then, I see something like that when I was like 11. I was like, whoa, what the hell is going on here? I
yeah,
like
and
it.
that's the thing. And that's the funny thing is they said a lot of audiences called in to report that something's wrong with the show
Really?
on that
Oh,
episode, which we
so
may have to do us a little show on that episode.
yeah. So
And it's the next generation. If anybody doesn't understand what's up, there's a next generation off episode where there's a time loop. But which appealed to me is not just the time loop. The time loop was cool, but the Federation ship when they run into it, you got your next generation uniforms, which is maybe 100 years from then,
yeah.
and then you have the uniforms from this movie because it came from this time period.
Oh.
That's why we're mentioning it because yeah, Jean-Luc Picard's almost 100 years from Captain Kirk's time.
Oh, okay,
So
Sean.
yeah, so there's several different enterprises because I mean that's Enterprise. That's just the USS first Enterprise refit. By the
Oh,
time
okay.
you see Jean-Luc Picard, that's the D Enterprise. Almost 100 years from that, and of course they changed the uniforms too. You know, the bridges looked old. All the stuff was changed, but they kept the original aesthetic for that because you know most sci-fi shows get that crap wrong.
Oh,
They
yeah.
get the community mixed up. You know, so I always thought that was impressive.
Well, that's really good. And
And of
but
course, you plus you see Fraser as the captain of the
yeah,
ship,
Fraser. Yep. So my
which
thing
is
is,
funny because think about it, because you have Christina Alley,
yes,
Savick, and this time, and Fraser came from her time as a captain of another ship.
I
It's like
know.
somebody said, Cheers was a holodeck. So that was a holodeck episode.
So no, my point I bring that up is like nowadays is the writing have to be like super well written, right, to get us to that level of high, right? Like it
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
whoa, I like this. I've never seen anything like this.
yeah. But this is pretty good. And the next thing about Wrath of Khan is it's simple. This one is actually a simple story too. It's kind
Yeah.
of just a story on revenge, or your ego, because you know Khan. I mean, basically Kirk used his ego and almost got beat because of his ego.
And I like
You know,
whoever like the right hand man for Khan is, the actor looks very familiar. I want to say he played bad guys in other movies too, but
he
like
has, and I know he's been on a lot of TV shows for a long time.
yeah,
I mean, I know he says he's still a working actor. I can't think of what his name is, but he's not. He never became a really big star, but he's like in SWAT and some
oh,
other stuff.
but you know what's
Yeah,
so I was thinking for what was I going with this? The Wrath of Khan. Oh, it's probably one of the first time, right? Where one of the main characters dies in the movie that I seen.
yes.
But
Oh, this was a
1982.
major character. Yes,
It means it's
Spock
kind of
was
like if Han
amazing.
Solo dies in the first Star Wars, like, whoa, I didn't see
Yes.
this coming.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, because that's the thing. Spock is Han Solo level.
Yeah, like whoa,
I know. And this is
I didn't think. Let me tell you right now. I didn't think Spock was gonna die. So before watching this, right, the second one is called what? The Search for Spock or something.
yeah.
So I'm thinking like, okay, maybe he got lost in a time thing. That's why the third
Oh,
one's
okay,
called.
yeah.
So that's why they can
Reasonable.
look for him, right? With Star Trek, like, okay, I understand time travel. They do that in space, but when he effing dies, right, dude, it threw me off. Too. It was like, okay, because the scene was like when McCoy's like, you can't go in there. He's dead, but he's standing, right? I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like he's not gonna die, and then he dies, and then they do the Viking thing. They burn him. they send him
Well,
out.
yeah. Well, they put him in a photon torpedo, and they
yeah,
shoot him
torpedo,
off onto the Genesis planet,
Yeah.
which is important because this is setting it up.
Yes.
There's actually a whole bunch of setup for the third movie in this,
Oh.
but I'm not pointing it out until we
No,
get to
don't
the third
point that
movie.
out. Yes,
Because you should have saw it. Because you should have saw it. Because you saw
Well, I know what
McCoy-
Genesis does.
because
Yes.
you saw McCoy getting a kind of a little altercation with Spock as you try to go in the chamber.
So
right?
I'm gonna tell you something, Shane. Before you go on, the thing between McCoy and Spock, I don't know which one I like more.
It's awesome. Isn't it?
It is. It's like I don't know which guy I like more. I like McCoy's attitude. Okay, which Cal
Yeah.
Urban brings to the new Star
Yeah,
Trek, which I
it's
love.
amazing, isn't it? Well, this is the thing. This is what actually is probably one of the best parts of the original series.
McCoy, yeah,
McCoy and because I never liked McCoy that much when I was young,
yeah,
but after
That-
watching all the movies and then watching the original series, you really start to like McCoy because his attitude.
it's his
But
attitude, right?
He's always poking at Spock. Constantly.
Yes, he's always poking. That's what I love. Look, as
And
a
that's the
kid,
thing.
right? I'm thinking as a kid, I probably won't like McCoy as much, but now I'm an adult, right? I'm like, oh my god, he's
Yeah.
doing the same thing I would do.
Yeah, because he's always out. He's always poking at Spock, and Spock
Yes.
is kind of like, he doesn't have any emotion, but down
Yes.
inside of him, he's like, why does this guy keep poking?
Yeah,
at me?
what's this guy's problem, man?
What's this guy's problem? But he's like,
I don't
it's
know which one I
illogical.
like more, McCoy or Spock. I do like Spock a lot, actually.
But yeah,
I'm
but
like-
McCoy is actually the conscience usually.
Ah, yes.
You know?
That's why
Well,
Kirk always has him go everywhere.
Kirk is
with him.
Kirk is like the heart.
Yes.
He does things by his heart. He's just if something happens, he's got to do something. Of course, Spock is logical about everything.
Yeah.
He's got to think about everything. But McCoy, he kind of points out the stupidity or something.
Yes.
He's kind of like Spock, except he points it out in layman's terms, but Spock's got to point it out in logical terms.
Yes. Those two are
Yeah.
cracks me up when they're together. It's
Yeah,
kind of like.
first, it's like that scene because you already know that.
Hey, you know what it is? In Big Bang Theory, Penny is like McCoy.
Yeah, I never thought of it. Yes,
That's why I just thought about Penny is exactly my McCoy, right? Not as much as a jerk.
it could be because you're going to think
She
because
pushes Sheldon in that way.
because Leonard would be Captain Kirk,
Yes.
Sheldon would be Spock, and of course
And
Penny
then
would
Penny's
be.
McCoy. Yes, she has the same
Never thought
mannerism.
about that.
Like,
It's amazing.
not as mean, but she's definitely McCoy. It's like,
Yeah.
why would you do this? Like she
But
she blurs it up
What'd you
right
think
away.
of what did you think when they beamed down to the Genesis planet?
Let me try and remember what happened.
Well, remember that? Well, they go to a regular one,
Oh yes,
and everybody's dead.
yes.
Did you jump? Did you jump at all
No, I don't remember.
when they hit
jumping.
the dead bodies?
Oh yes. Well, I didn't jump.
Okay, because
Yeah.
a lot of people did it, but I mean, you're aware of it now. But
Yeah,
I
I'm
remember
aware
as
of
a kid,
stuff
you
like
jump.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, but they beamed down. I like it because they kept that McCoy because McCoy does not like transporters, right?
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah.
And he's like, so where are we beaming down? They go, we're beaming down in the middle of the planet. He's like, well, what if there's nothing there? Then Kirk's like, well, that's a good chance to get away from it all.
Yes. Yeah. Because I thought it was so funny. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, and the neat thing, I remember this was kind of give you nightmares. The SETI eels.
Oh yeah.
Remember the things they put in your ears? They
Yep.
crawl in your ears, and then they wrap.
You know,
themselves
for
around.
that time, right? The special effects there looks pretty good. It's the way
It
they
still looks.
edited it.
It still looks pretty good now.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like right now, it's still pretty good. Like how they edited. Like you could tell the ear was fake because
Yeah,
they
you
had
can
to
tell
make it
that because you can see the
gigantic.
stuff.
Yeah, so I'm like,
Yeah, you can tell
dude,
that stuff, but it
but
was
it's
pretty
still
good, especially
creepy
when the
as
eel
heck.
starts. Especially when he crawls back out his ear and all
Oh,
that
my
blood's
God.
coming out.
and I'm like, I was thinking like Chekhov's not gonna die, right? But the other captain did.
He did, yeah. He vaporized himself.
Oh yeah, he
which is-
vaporized him. He killed himself. Yeah,
Because
'Cause
most phases
he
don't
couldn't keep-
vaporize you.
he couldn't kill Kirk.
Yeah, couldn't do it. And that's Paul Winfield that plays the Captain Terrell.
Yeah,
I just
recognize
pointed
the
out
actor.
because he appears in Next Generation as aliens and stuff.
Oh really?
Yeah, He appears
Oh.
again. So I mean, he's in a lot of stuff. A
You
lot
know
of
what?
these actors come back.
I love
In
everything
the,
about Star Trek. So far, only seen 5 Star Trek movies and those episodes. These 5 movies, maybe not Star Trek Beyond. I love them all. I
yeah,
love them all.
yeah.
I might have to
Well,
see Beyond a little bit more, but like, not that I don't like
I've
it,
never
right?
seen Beyond yet. Oh yeah, Beyond. Well, I actually liked it. It was one of my favorite of
Oh,
the
oh yeah. I
aliens.
mean, like, it's not like I don't like it. I probably haven't. I only seen it once.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I probably
It
seen it
was,
again because I started Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams thing. I'm gonna watch it all because I
well,
only started this
I noticed a lot of
because I
people
want
that.
to see Into Darkness because the Wrath of Khan. But I'm thinking like
Okay.
I don't want to watch Into Darkness without watching the first one.
Yeah.
I just love all the Star Trek thing I
But
see.
you got Khan. Remember Khan? Man, he's got all that muscles.
Yeah, he
Ricardo
does.
Montalbán. Man, that guy. I think he's better villain than the one
Oh,
in 12.
dude, he's a good villain.
Oh,
He
he's what a
basically he wants
villain's.
Kirk dead.
Yeah, he just wants. He's arrogant, like
Oh,
a
he's
super. Like,
super arrogant.
well, if you make a human everything that gave a human everything they could want, how are they going to be? They're going to be arrogant like that.
Cause like I like when Kirk towards the end they fired the missiles, right? Dude, he's still an arrogant SOB.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because if you watch Star Trek 12, uh, you know, Doctor Strange is Khan.
Yes.
But see the way he plays it.
You mean Star Trek 11, right?
Star Trek 11.
No,
No,
this
it's
is
Star Trek 12. It's
12.
Star Trek 12.
Yeah, there's
12
10
is
original.
Into Darkness.
Yeah,
Into
Into Darkness
Darkness.
is number 12.
Yeah, Conabon,
Beyond
whatever
is
his
13.
name is.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go to
Yeah,
Doctor
Cumberbatch.
Strange.
Doctor Strange
Anyways,
is in the movie.
he's all this serious guy. The problem is he's like, oh, I'm all this, but I'm like, I think Khan came from the 1980s, dude.
Yeah.
Like, who's from the 80s? Stallone,
Yes.
Schwarzenegger. I mean, somebody is arrogant is gonna be like that. They're not gonna be like all straight faced like Doctor Strange was in that deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't creepy at all. Matter of fact, in Star Trek 12, they tried to make it more sympathetic. But I'm like, we need a villain.
Oh, you want the sinister
This
thing.
villain.
That's why you
Well, he
like.
wasn't really. Well, if you watch Space Seed, he's not. He's sinister in a way that we are used to in our real world.
Oh.
I mean, he's just this arrogant guy, but he respects Kirk as a he respects Kirk and stuff. He didn't originally, but he respects him as this guy beat me. It's cool. I'll go down this planet. I'll do something. I'll engineer. Because when he went down this planet, the way Khan saw it is they got a new beginning finally.
Yes. Yeah, they mentioned that. Yeah, they thought they
But
were
the
getting
problem
a new
is Captain Kirk and no Federation ships came and checked on him, and a planet blew up, shifting his planet out of orbit and then turning into a wasteland.
Yes.
But it was because actually this planet's visited in Star Trek Enterprise.
It's
And
really
it's
funny.
actually got trees and mountains and stuff.
Well, it's not funny when Kurt asked Chekhov, like, what are you guys doing here? Like, oh my god, you guys didn't mean to come here. I think that ticked him off even more when he figured it out. Like,
Yeah,
I thought you guys were coming to check on us, but they didn't.
Yeah, then he was mad.
Oh, then he was mad.
Because we got to think, he lost a wife.
Yes, he lost
Lost
his wife,
almost all of his crew. He just
His
watched
people.
everybody die on this planet.
Yep.
So
Dude, this
basically, he
movie
was
is
sent
great.
because instead of being, because he's sent to a planet to build something. Instead, he's sent to a planet to die.
To die, yep.
That's
Yeah,
the way he saw it.
Too.
And that's why he came out of Kirk. And I liked it because Captain Kirk is always like, when they go to the Nebula,
Yes.
and of course he wants to go, and of course his first officer, Khan's first officer, is like, no, we don't have anything. And of course Kirk's like, hey, I'm laughing at the superior intellect.
Yeah, it's also like yeah, Kirk said that, such a jerk. When the first officer of Khan, right? It feels like you can come back and beat him later. Like, I thought he was pretty good first officer for
he's
Khan's
pretty good.
crew. Yeah.
Well, he's reasonable.
Yes, he's.
But the problem is Khan
had that ego thing.
Had to destroy Kirk.
Yes.
He had to destroy Kirk. But he also gives you one of the best Star Trek starship battles.
Oh.
Because I've seen a lot of movies and they got battles between all the movies will have a battle between two starships. But this is the Enterprise versus another Federation ship.
Yes.
And of course, they both lose their shields. Their shields don't work in the nebula, and they can't. None of their sensors work. So they have to kind of do submarine warfare where they pick up sounds or they energy signatures and move their ships around.
Yes.
To try to hit each other.
What's really crazy? Like, I mean, it's common now, right? But back in 1982. When they're able to use that ship to control the other ship, it would have blew my mind back then.
Yeah, well, we know. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, we know we could do that. I'm controlling other computers in my room.
It's like when I get in my pickup, it's automatically playing all the music off my cell phone.
Yes, that's crazy. Yeah, back in the day, I would be like, whoa, that's totally the idea. That's
But
what
yeah,
happened
but
to
basically,
engineers. Like,
but
we
that
should
was
have
actually
that.
that was pretty cool though when he drops the shield and he shoots them and then gets away.
Yes.
And of course, they're both floating around the planet, and then of course they're using hours for days, blah blah blah, code words.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch more.
Yeah, I mean this is just the tip of it. But to me, this is the best one. But I mean, I think if you're not a real good Star Trek fan or a big Star Trek fan, 4 is probably the best.
Yeah, you said that before. You also said the even number for the Star Trek movies are always the better
Yeah,
ones.
it seems for some reason the even
The
number Star Trek
curse.
movies are usually always. I don't know if it's really a curse, but I call it that because you see 2 was good, 3 was but 4 is very good. 5 people hate it.
Oh.
I actually enjoy it because it's the first one I saw in a theater.
Oh, first one you saw in theater.
And I like the philosophy. I mean, I can understand why they don't like the story, and I kind of don't like the story. But the way Kirk, some of the things Kirk says in the 5th one makes sense.
Oh.
Basically, a lot of things they say in the first one, because I like the second one because he always says, "How do you feel?" I feel young, which is neat because when I watch it, that's the way I feel.
Yeah.
But anyways, then 6 is awesome.
Oh.
And then the Next Generation falls on 7, which
7.
is okay, but the next one is fighting the Borg is amazing.
Wow, number 8.
So, let's say if you're a Next Generation fan, if you grew up watching Next Generation, number 8 is your Star Trek 2.
Whoa.
Because I remember this guy I worked with, he was a younger guy to me. He always we would start talk about Star Trek. I was surprised he didn't like Star Trek. He's like, oh, Next Generation. He was Next Generation all the way. I was like, that's cool because I watched more Next Generation actually than I watched the original series.
Which one has
But I
more
lived
seasons?
but I lived on the movie. Yeah. I forgot how many seasons. I can't remember if it was 9 or 7.
For Next Generation?
Yeah.
Oh, so there's a lot more.
Oh yes, there was tons of it. It lasted a long time, and it got way better as you got along.
Damn it! Because I really want to watch Picard, right? But I don't know if I want to watch 7.
No, you don't do any Picard until you watch
Next Generation.
There are some very important episodes you got to watch in Next Generation, because if you watch Picard, especially if you watch second season of Picard, is not because the villain or the antagonist. I'm not gonna call him the villain. Q is the antagonist in Star Trek. He is, to me, the greatest antagonist of all the Star Trek series. I just love this guy. He is a jerk. He's an alien jerk. He's just this jerk that decides he's playing like he's got let's say humankind is not good enough, but he'll make it good enough. That's the way he sees it. He loves humans. He likes to play with them. He likes to kill them. He likes to torture them. He likes to do all this other stuff. But he's an alien. He's like God in a way.
Oh, so he's like
comes back to Earth and he comes down and he just does what he wants, even though that eventually they get up to him. But there's some good stories with him in it. Some of the best stories was Picard and him, or in the Next Generation, which you have to see before you see Picard.
So one of the things that I hate watching these Star Trek movies, I wish these actors were younger. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. In these movies?
Yeah, in these movies, because I feel man, they lost like 20 years.
But the problem is, I think the biggest part, well, we're not getting that part because we haven't reached that age yet. Because in this Star Trek 2, it's the problem is Kirk, it has to become an admiral. That's the whole thing. He just wants to be young and fly a starship again. Yeah. He can't because he went ahead and promoted up like everybody else in his career. They all promoted up, so he lost something. It's like he's getting at the end of the retirement age.
Yes.
It's like he's too old. Almost all these movies is about they're almost too old until you get to Star Trek 6 and it's about peace.
Oh, okay.
But for the while, it's just like they got put on a star base, or they're back in San Francisco training.
Like behind a desk job.
They're all behind a desk, exactly.
Yep.
And in these 3 movies, they get out from behind that desk and take off and do an adventure.
Awesome.
And that's why this can be a trilogy, because
see, that's what I'm saying. I always said trilogy, right? So people know that we're gonna watch 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, because this is in a way a trilogy, because this is actually a story arc.
Yeah.
Because by the time you get to Star Trek 5, the story arc is in.
Okay.
It goes all the way from 2, and there wasn't supposed to be they didn't know they were going to make a 3 and a 4.
Ooh, they didn't know they were going to.
But somebody had an idea during 2. They did one thing during 2 that makes 3.
Ah, okay.
There's this little thing, and when you get to 3, and I tell you about it, you're going, man, I can't believe it. You'll probably go back and watch Star Trek 2 to see this scene.
I probably will.
But here's the neat thing. I gotta say, when we started Star Trek 2, I'll just say when I was little, Lieutenant Savick was my second crush next to Princess Leia.
Wait, who was?
Lieutenant Saturn.
Oh yeah,
Christy
yeah,
Alley's character.
yeah. Christy
That was
Alley's
my
character.
next.
Yes.
That was my next crush after Princess Leia.
She looks good in that movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I was like I say, up until then, you're like, oh, Princess Leia. Sure, yeah. And then Star Trek comes along, I'm like, Vulcans are better. Even though they could never show you any emotion.
I love that Vulcan pinch that Spock does on McCoy.
Yeah, well, and which originates in the original series, because
Yes.
he actually uses it against one of Khan's crewmen in the spacesuit too.
Oh really?
Yeah, he uses it a lot. I mean, these are just peach of.
I like these Vulcans, probably the older ones, right? And not a violent race of people, right? But they have that pinch. You're like, oh.
Yeah, because all you do is walk out there and knock people out. I mean, you don't
love
need it.
that.
Humans are so. I mean, as far as Vulcans are concerned, humans.
Yeah. I just love that. Like, what was it? I think I told you that movie before with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCartney, The Heat. When Melissa McCartney's undercover character, she was staking out this guy right now on hookers and stuff, and she pinches his hand, and she's like, "Ah, what are you, Spock?" I just thought it was so funny. The Vulcan pinch, and then the J.J. Abrams one that had that too, when Kirk was being all ruckus, and then
Oh yeah.
Spock did that pinch and like get him off the ship.
Yeah.
He did the Vulcan pinch.
Yeah, you gotta have the Vulcan pinch.
I love that.
Unless you're a Vulcan, you can't do the Vulcan pinch.
Yeah, obviously, right? They know exactly the pressure point.
No, it's not all about pressure points.
Oh,
it's
what is
actually it's a physiological. It's they got like electric.
Oh, that's right.
It's also in the mind because they
The
touch
mind
your
thing.
head.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about the McCoy thing.
It's a form of that mind meld.
So what is that mind thing? I need you to clarify that for me because he touches McCoy and I like remember.
Oh, see, this is the part I want you to. This is a big thing. I'll explain that to you in the third one.
Oh, okay.
This is accident. I'm gonna go ahead and just say one thing.
Okay.
That was not in the script.
No.
But later on, they thought, what if we need to do something for another movie? So they filmed that and then they put it in there.
Because I didn't know what that was like. What is he talking about? Remember
the Vulcan mind meld in the movies is where they put it on their head, and like even an alien species can't speak or an animal or something. It's basically they read your mind.
Wait, so Spock was reading McCoy's mind, or McCoy's getting?
No.
Okay.
This is Star Trek 3 right here.
Okay.
But it is. I can't believe that you remember this because a lot of people didn't miss this.
No, I see it.
See, this is very important in this
because
movie.
it's right before Spock goes in. Yeah, like remember.
He touches it and he tells him to remember.
And I'm like, remember what? What is it? And then he goes into the room. Dude, I was so taken off.
This is the thing. Until you get to Star Trek 3, this is the most amazing part.
Okay,
because they just happen to.
So I think this is a good place to stop because I already brought this up. So with that, right, we're gonna end this right here.
We're gonna end
next week.
Up there Star Trek next week.
Yep, next week. Thank you for watching this segment of our reviews. I hope you had a great time listening to us. Be sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one. Laters.